Hey, Pipe Fans, welcome back to Carl Peruzza MMA. Today we're with a returning guest to the platform. This time around, he is a UFC fighter, one of the newest UFC middleweights. He is the Battle Giraffe. He is Mr. Cam Rowston. Cam, how does that sound, man? UFC fighter.
Sounds pretty good. Sounds pretty good to me.
There you go, man. Well, last time in action, just a few weeks ago, he fought over Las Vegas, took on Brandon Holmes. Interesting situation. You're getting ready for John Kuhneman, and with very little time to spare at all, he pulled out. Holmes came in, whole new opponent. What was that whole situation like?
It was a bit of it felt like a bit of adrenaline rush, like for those 2 weeks, like just trying to very different style, just trying to cram in as much as I could in those 2 weeks, and it was hectic, but it was doable for sure.
Absolutely. Obviously in the fight, you're able to pick up a big finish. Walk me through the closing moments of that fight.
I hit him with the 1-2 as he was drifting on the cage, and didn't quite see like the legs go or anything. I didn't pick that up, but all I could hear in my corner was Eugene just yelling, finish him, get him out of there. So I just thought, right, it's just like what we do in conditioning, just bag sprints, just go as hard as you can, like you're hitting the bag, and then that was it. I didn't feel any impact from the punches or anything. There was so much adrenaline going. Like all I could hear was just Eugene saying, finish him.
Absolutely. Following the contest, did you feel like you had enough? Were you pretty confident you were in that contract?
Without a doubt, in my mind, I was 99.99% sure I was getting that contract. I did everything that you need to do to get a contract. First round finish, make weight, call out for another fight. I think that I ticked all the boxes on that.
Absolutely. We talked about last time the life of being a professional fighter. It's not glamorous, man. There's a lot of sacrifices when you're battling down the regional scene to get to where you're at right now. When Dana told you come over here, here's your contract, you're in the UFC. Were you able to spend a second to kind of reflect a little bit on the journey that led you to where you're at now?
Yeah. Like when they put you on those seats and you wait for Dana to call you, we're watching the last fight, me and the other guys who had won, and we had like a solid 20 minutes because that went the full 3 rounds. So we had like a solid 20 minutes, chat to the other guys there. But for most of it, you're just sitting there watching the fight. And I was just thinking about the year before how I'd lost, and the year before how I prepped and didn't quite get to make it over to Vegas. And just the whole journey to get there and where I started training, it was a bit of like a montage in my head moment leading up to that. It was a nice feeling.
Absolutely. When you look at City Kickboxing, so many killers have come out of that gym. You have Brad Riddell, you have Adesanya, you got Volkanovski, Jack Della. All these guys have trained over there. What's it like to now add your name to the list of guys over there that are in the UFC?
It's a very good feeling for sure. It's like I guess you guys don't really play rugby, but like being in like a professional sporting team, kind of going from like that college level and being drafted into a professional team. That's kind of like, I guess, the feeling that you would get if you were in that, and that's how I can kind of compare it.
Absolutely. Obviously, you're really close to Eugene Behrman, head coach over there. Eugene, a guy that everyone in this sport, I think, has respect for Eugene. And, one thing I could tell by looking at the City Kickboxing guys, you guys absolutely love him. What was it like to be able to celebrate this with him?
It wasn't a wild celebration, but it was like the celebration that I wanted. I didn't want to get too crazy with it. I just wanted to have like a good. We just went out for a meal afterwards, and we all just kind of sat there and we're like, yep, this is a good feeling. Like we didn't need to go and get wild on the beers or anything. We just kind of bathed and like soaked it up over a nice meal and like 1 or 2 drinks, and that was really good.
So no shoeies after the fight?
No shoeies, no shoeies. I did do a shot of whiskey. That was pretty good. Eugene did not do the shot of whiskey, but I did.
There you go. So one of the things you said after your fight, you called your shot. UFC Perth, told everyone you want to be on it. Dana White said, it's full, but whatever. We're going to make an exception. You're on. It's pretty cool to actually see this come to fruition now.
That's it's almost unreal. Like still kind of letting it still needs to sink in. Yeah, but I think by the time fight week rolls around, it will well and truly have sunk in.
Absolutely. So you're taking on for your first opponent. It's a household name. It's Andre Petroski, a guy that MMA fans are quite familiar of. Overall, what do you think of him as an opponent here?
Oh, he's solid. He's a rock solid guy. He's good everywhere. Good striking, good grappling, and it's really made me level up my training and focus and really zone in. There's every fight in the UFC is going to be the hardest fight of your life. So this is going to be the hardest fight of my life.
Absolutely. Obviously, you get to fight in your home country. You get to fight in Australia, a place that usually goes absolutely crazy. One of the best crowds in all of combat sports. Do you think you're going to be able to feed off of that energy in this one?
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait to get to feel that energy of a huge crowd. When I'm just envisioning some big moments in the fight, we're both absolutely exhausted, and then you just hear the crowd go, wow, and the exhaustion just disappears. It's just pure adrenaline from there. I can't wait. I'm so excited.
There've been some massive fights over in Australia over the years. UFC's come there from a very long time. Were you ever in attendance for any of those and maybe thinking, one day, 5-10 years from now, I'm going to be there?
Yes. Yeah. I made it over to Melbourne for the UFC. I don't know what number it was, but it was Adesanya versus Whitaker in at Marvel Stadium, the biggest crowd that they ever had. I was like, tickets were like 80 Australian. It was dirt cheap, but it was right up the back. You got to get the binoculars out. But it was insane how many people were there. I remember Brad Riddell was fighting on the card, and he had his walkout, and he walked out to Thunderstruck. By the time he got into the cage, the song started playing again. Like, that's how long the walkout took because the stadium was so big. It was like a 4 or 5 minute song. So I was like, man, this would be so cool if one day I got to fight my home crowd, even here, and just do this massive walkout, hundreds, thousands of people everywhere. That would be the dream, and here I am.
Absolutely. When you first started doing this, but what was the MMA scene like in Australia? Was there a big presence when you first got into it?
It was still quite small. It was not what it is now. There was nothing on UFC Fight Pass. There was maybe like 3 major promotions, one in each state. Like there was a major promotion in Queensland, New South Wales, where I'm from, and Victoria, and I would basically fight on the one in New South Wales, and they would have a show like every 2 months, and that was about it, really. Like, other than that, there wasn't much going on. People wouldn't really cross over into different promotions, so it was very, very small.
Absolutely. It's kind of crazy to think about, man. 20 years ago, mixed martial arts was not as global. It was not as big as what it was. At one point, people were calling this human cockfighting. People didn't think this should be legal and all this crazy stuff. Is it crazy for you to see where the sport has now become?
Yeah. Yeah, it's very crazy. I remember when I first started watching it, maybe like 2010, 2009, 2010. I was watching it. It was on, they had this TV channel called Fuel TV in Australia, and that's what they used to put it on. It would be on at like 11 p.m. midnight. And I was watching it. My mom was like, "What's this?" I'm like, "Oh, it's MMA." And she's like, "Is it real?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's real." She's like, "Nah, it's not real. It's like WWE." And I'm like, "No, it's real." She's like, Nah, I think it's fake." And she's like, "I don't know if I want you watching this if it's real." I was like, "Relax. This is going to be something one day." And then who knew it would turn into a job?
Absolutely. You've been doing this job for a while, obviously having a lot of success on the regional scene. Now, finally being in the UFC, now being able to do UFC contests as UFC fighter, do you feel like now is when this journey really just now begins?
Yeah. This is what I told myself. This is not like kick the feet up, relax. This is time to shift gears, shift up a gear, put the foot on the accelerator a little bit harder, and just kind of like start getting to work. And I feel like this is my body and my mental state is in like a really good position to start doing that as well.
You know, coming into the contest when you're watching stuff, reading about the fight, watching predictions and stuff on YouTube, a lot of people from your talk about your wrestling, your jiu-jitsu, see if you're going to get them down. Well, you prove people you're a very complete mixed martial artist. I mean, obviously you finished him with strikes. You have some very deadly power with your hands. You feel like at this point in the journey, you're turning into a very complete martial artist?
Yeah, definitely. That's what I've always strived to do is be a complete mixed martial artist. My favorite fighters were GSP and Demetrius Johnson as I was growing up, and they always preach cross training, training boxing, training Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu singularly, and then going and trying to blend it all together as MMA, and that's what I've been trying to do. And now now I feel like I'm starting to hit my strides and get to that point.
You know, since the fight, what's the reactions been like? What was social media like for the few days after? Could you even get on your phone?
Oh, I didn't even bother opening up my Instagram or my Facebook. I just stuck to WhatsApp and just all my personal contacts are through that. And then a few days later, I opened it up and it was just like, it was overwhelming, but it was all positive, and it was really good to see, all positive compared to last year after the Finney fight. It was it was a bit of negativity, but I love it. I love the negative messages.
Absolutely. So in this day and age, there's a lot of people who are watching it, like we're talking about before. There's a term now called the casual fan. And don't get me wrong, I think every fan is good. But, you know, if you go to bars sometimes, cheap seats of the fight, you might hear twist them and the you know what, some crazy comments, some crazy stuff. Do you have anything you've ever seen or heard that sticks out to you? Anything that just made you laugh?
Yeah, just like, you watch like a absolute war of a fight. These two guys who are dogging it out. It's like deep in the third round. There's maybe like 2 minutes left. And you hear someone go, "Oh man, he's gassed." And I'm like, fucking shut up. Like, you have no fucking idea how tired he is. Like, you've never been close to that tired in your life. And you have the balls to say he's gassed. Like, that is one of the one things that kills me when I hear guys say, "Oh man, he's tired." And I was like, you have no idea.
Absolutely. All right. Before we wrap up here, one thing I want to do is I want to walk through some big UFC fights coming up. I want to get your prediction who's going to win some of these big matchups. So we got a fun one. 185 recently got announced. It's Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. It's Renier de Ritter. Who takes the gold? Who wins this one?
Fluffy Hernandez. I've been watching him very closely, and I just think he's got one of the best approaches to breaking guys down. De Ritter is technically his jiu-jitsu is really, really good. I think he's going to be able to like cancel out a finish. I think he's technically is good enough to stop Fluffy from finishing him, but Fluffy will I think he's going to ride this one out.
Absolutely. Just taking the same weight class, 185 still. We got one this weekend in Paris. We got Kyle Boao taking on Naimov. Overall, what do you think of him what do you think of them what do you think of this fight?
Imavov he's very cerebral. Like, the way I've watched him fight and train, he does a lot of things very subtly, very, very well. And I've watched Caio Borralho and I was like, fuck, this guy's a powerhouse. But I think Borralho, like, with the team behind him and the coaching with his power and his approach and like the way they break down fights and stuff, I got to give it to him. Possibly a finish. We'll see.
Absolutely. So some big ones, else ones coming up. We got Merab Dvalishvili taking on Corey Sandhagen. Who do you got there?
Oh man, I've been looking forward to this one. I'm gonna go with Merab, but I do see Sandhagen, like, he just gets better every fight. Like, defending, his ability to defend takedowns and strike, he gets better every fight. But fuck, I don't know. The machine, the Georgian machine is you just can't. He's a unstoppable force. So I'll give it to him.
You know, that same night, you got Pereira trying to get that belt back again, taking on Ankalaev, second time around. Same outcome or different?
Ankalaev, inshallah.
There you go. So the last one I'm going to do here, obviously a guy that you know a little well, Jack Della Maddalena taking on Islam Makhachev. Huge 170 contest. What should we expect here?
You're going to expect a first-round KO from the Australian without a doubt. Australian all the way.
Absolutely. Obviously, some 185ers in there. When you're starting to see these middleweights now, realistically, are you thinking in your head, if I go out, if I do my thing with Petroski, maybe 3, 4, 5 fights, I could be top 5.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. That was in my mind when I got that fight with Petroski. But, I don't look too far ahead. I always just take it one fight at a time. But, yeah, definitely for sure.
Obviously, with Petroski being a name that guys know, has had over 10 UFC fights, fought some of the best in the world. You feel like winning that fight, getting a big finish, getting a big win over him in Perth, does that really catapult your start in the UFC here?
Yeah, for sure, without a doubt. I think that's what they're setting me up for. That's what I think. I've been given this opportunity, and this is I'm going to take it with both hands, and that's exactly what's going to happen.
For you, what's the ultimate goal now? Obviously, you made it to the UFC, but what's next on our radar from here?
Make some money. Time to make some money. I haven't made any money through any of my fights my whole career. I'm 35 plus fights across all fight sports and 0. And now it's time to make some real money.
Absolutely. You're a type of guy, you have a very great personality. You're very funny. You're not trying to put on a show. You're very comes naturally. I think you have one of the coolest nicknames in all the sport. When you go out there and fight, man, you're always looking for the finish. You put on a show every time you're out there. You feel like you're going to become a fan favorite pretty quickly here.
Yeah, for sure. I have the style, and this is my cat just crawling all over me. I have the style, and I think I just have the mindset in my training and when I'm in the cage to, just really just bolster myself as like a stalwart on the Australian MMA scene and just get everyone behind me.
Absolutely. Obviously you experienced that climb, second chance opportunities, battling through adversity, sticking with it, finally getting where you belong. This journey is absolutely insane. How do you think you've grown and has evolved from a person from experiencing all this?
Just maturity. I think it's just all the experience like really builds up a maturity and like a mental toughness in you that you can have all these mindset coaches tell you and shit like that, but you just got to go out there and do it yourself. Otherwise, you're never going to build it.
Yeah, I ask a lot of guys if they think that fighting is more mental or is it physical, and I'd say 90% of the time, guys are telling me it's more mental. For you, you mentioned you've built up that mental toughness. At what point in the career did you really start feeling that you were getting it all together up here?
Probably after the Finney fight, like once I lost that Finney fight, and I was just told myself like, I can't just win another fight and hope that they're gonna sign me for contenders. Like I got to go for it. I got to be relentless about this and just be undeniable. And I think that's where like the mindset just kind of switched as well. And here we are.
Absolutely. All right, Cam, last question for you, my friend. In the perfect world, what is the outcome when you take on Mr. Andre Petroski at UFC Perth, September 27th?
Well, we get to that third round. Maybe I got a bloody nose. He's got a cut over his eye. There's just blood everywhere. We're both just staring at each other, breathing as heavy as we can. There's 5 more minutes to go, and we just go out there and we just bang, bang, bang. Maybe a finish with 10 seconds to go, or just the absolute war, and I get my hand raised in a decision. But either way, 50K.
Absolutely. Now, if we do see a finish with this time around in Perth, is there a chance maybe like a Tuivasa style shoey up on the cage?
Oh, yeah, stone cold style. I'll get up there, get someone in the crowd, throw me a can, throw me another can, throw me a shoe. I'll put it down in the cage.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, maybe we'll get to see it. But Cam, thank you so much. I really appreciate the time as always. Very happy for you. Can't wait for this fight. And thanks again, my friend.
Nice. Thanks, Carlo.
Absolutely. That's it for us today. I'm Carl Prusa. He is the Battle Giraffe. He is Mr. Cam Rowston. You could watch him going down September 27th, taking on Andre Petroski, UFC Perth. Fight fans, have a good night.